Hey there, Pisces. This is Seven Scorpion Tarot, and I want to welcome you to tonight's reading. So tonight, what is not in Pisces right now? There is a lot going on in our sign. We've got the Sun, Saturn, Neptune, and the North Node. So kind of busy. A lot going on. Um, so I think we will dig into it with the usual spread with the self, shadow, and ego. And I've got a couple of very esoteric decks out tonight. We've got the Hermetic Tarot and the Beyond Lemuria. Lemuria. I will get that pronunciation down. So let's get into it because I want to see. I just want to see what the heck is going on, and maybe something that can help, I don't know, clear the way, clear the path. Uh, it just feels like there's a lot going on in our sign right now. And there's about to be more with eclipse season coming up. So I'll start shuffling for the self. And I hope you guys recently had a good Pisces new moon, set some good new intentions under that dark moon there. I'm trying to think of how best to summarize the celestial weather right now, and it's just a lot. That's really the best I can come up with. As I think Neptune is going to go into Aries later this year, potentially. We've got the Nine of Wands, the Lord of Great Strength. So this is the Chiron card, the Wounded Warrior. And this is like, there's a lot going on in this card. And it's in the self. And I mean, much strength is needed with everything going on in our sign. But it looks like two crow or raven skulls and two snakes. And it looks like a caduceus, the staff of Hermes, it's been like flipped upside down and straightened out. Like almost like the Aries sign. I'll flip it upside down, but see, like it looks like the Aries sign. And from Pisces to Aries, from that 12th to first house, the 9 to the 10, one more step before a cycle's completed. A lesson, a difficult lesson. And in the Rider-Waite, the individual in the card is like leaning on one of the 9 wands and has a bandage over their forehead, so like over their third eye. So the sense that I'm getting is whatever lesson this is, whatever cycle that needs to be completed, we have to rely on ourselves. It's not going to be somebody else is going to be telling us the way, because it's our path, it's our journey, it's our story. We're the ones that need to make that last leg of the journey of the 10 of Wands before we can set down the burden. And these almost look like little suns. So maybe that's hope in the distance of, you've got all this fire here, And this looks like Sagittarius's symbol, and we're talking about Aries here. So you've got all this intense fire energy, and then the reward in the background, the sun that we're walking towards. And a little bit of the moon. Oh, and kind of almost looks like an eclipse, maybe an eclipse in progress. I don't know if the camera's gonna pick that up or not. Uh, hmm. And I know I said this is the Chiron card, but there was another analogy I was trying to think of. Oh, the Job, Book of Job. Uh, so the test, the accuser. Um, okay, I'm gonna ramble for a little bit. Let's talk about the Bible. um, I might shuffle for the shadow as I ramble. Um, actually, I will. I'll get to that. But so the Book of Job, the Old Testament. Uh, hmm. So first, I want to make clear that in the Book of Job, when they're referencing the Satan, it's not Satan. This the Satan is a Hebrew word for the accuser, and this it really grinds my gears because when people bring up the Book of Job and we're not paying attention to the Old Testament was written in Hebrew, the New Testament was written in Greek. Like, that's really, really important to yeah, the story. And like the morning star didn't even show up until Isaiah, like as far as I recall. I could be wrong, could be. Uh anyway, but so the Book of Job, you've got the members of God's court, which includes the Satan, the accuser. And it's the accuser who says, uh, who brings up Job's faith. And this is the book where I really got lost on this pantheon in absorbing it into my own daily practice. There's a lot of really important stories in both the Old and the New Testament, and I do work with archangels occasionally in my practice and Lilith, and I continue to explore these things as time goes on. But the Book of Job's really like I had some issues with it. Uh, it seemed cruel. It was cruel, and from what I can tell, like yes, he went through all that the suffering, all this incredible suffering, and eventually to have his wealth restored and whatnot, and a family restored to him, but the family he started with was still killed. That's kind of a big deal. I don't want to get too far into the weeds in that, but the unrelenting faith of Job is so incredible, so impressive for all of these things to be happening to him and for him to never turn his back on Yahweh. And just a testament to resilience. that really says a lot about Job as a person of conviction, of faith. And I think that might be the lesson in whatever it is you're going through. That's these difficult things that are happening in the self area of the psyche. Uh, you're at the nine. The ten's coming. You'll be able to lay down these burdens soon, and this is the point where you're battle worn, you're weary, and you're so close. You're so close. This is the like just keep going, one foot in front of the other. Like you might not be able to see it right now, but that sun is on the horizon. So Seven of Swords in the shadow position, Lord of unstable effort. So if we want to continue on with this book of Job analogy, this could be the Satan. Uh, that you, Job, however you want to take this, is being deceived. That there really is something grander at work of being the contributing factor to your strife, to your struggle. Because the like out of the four suits, the wands and the swords are the more challenging. They include these burdens, they include this like conflict and whatnot. And they're very mental. Like the cups is the heart space, the pentacles are the material realm, but this is swords is the mental energy, and wands is will. So that it's like your life force and your compass, like your map, just being chipped at. And maybe you're in some sort of situation where it feels like, is this intentional? Like, I know I've had those moments in my life. I'm like, am I crazy? Like, is this happening on purpose? Like, what is the deal? uh, and I'll have to go back and reread the book of Job. I have the audiobook on Audible, narrated by the late great James Earl Jones. The Old Testament is, at least. I have to review that. Start shuffling for the ego. But so the Seven of Swords, that's the fox spirit, is always what comes to mind for me, with Seven of Swords, the trickster, and that very mischievous trickster. So certainly the Satan comes to mind. Um, I think boils and a tornado are a bit more. We're rising above the level of mischievousness. Uh, Trying to think of the rider weight, because they're like, it's one person kind of, they're on their tiptoes. They're like doo, 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 like running away for from these tents, but they're looking back over their shoulder, and they've got like 5 swords in tow and they're leaving 2 behind. So, like, and it's daytime in the card, so they're not making away like a thief in the night. Still getting away with something, but not everything. And this is in the shadow. So maybe you've identified a wound or a pattern or something in the shadow that you're like, the Bon Jovi song. Bon Jovi's coming up a lot lately. We're halfway there. Living on a prayer. Okay, yeah. Um, and you can't exactly. Well, I mean, if you use decimals, you can cut 7 in half. But it have you not got to the full depth of the wound? Is it not fully closing whatever this wound is? Or something you thought was healed but is not? Hmm. Ooh. And another, we've got 2 matching, like the moons there at the bottom. Excuse me, bottom left. Some more eclipse energy. And the lunar eclipse in upcoming in September, that'll be in Pisces. So I think the solar eclipse is in Virgo, or is that going to be in Aries? I don't know. Um, it's coming up soon. I think I already said that I'm shuffling for the ego. Uh, so sneaky deceit, thievery in the shadow. Oh, is something in the shadow like thieving the ability to get to the 10 of wands. And it, like, in most of the depictions, it's someone completely like burdened by these 10 wands. The idea is that they're going to be set down, though. It's laying these burdens to rest is what is on the other side of the 10. Hmm. And I think this is why I need to go back and read the book of Job again. I don't know if it was just arbitrarily decided that it was like, okay, he's faithful enough, like we murdered his family and took all of his wealth, his farm, uh everything, and he didn't lose faith. Like, we've tortured him enough, like here's all your rewards. Sorry about your dead family. So I don't know if there's some sort of like, are you past the hump and there's going to be some sort of like cosmic force that is like, okay, we're done. Knight of Swords, and that flipped right as I was like lamenting about cosmic force. Lord of the Winds and Breezes. So this is the, I think, the fastest knight in the deck. And this looks kind of like a Merkaba. Uh, the, gosh dang it, the Chariot of God. I think that's what the Merkaba is. I'm vaguely. Does that have something to do with Jacob's ladder? That's ringing a bell. I don't know. Like the dream that Jacob had, that did he get that interpreted, or was that interpreted by Archangel Sariel? I don't know, that's ringing some kind of bell. Jacob's ladder, Merkaba, the Chariot of God, the um actual like biblically accurate cherubs, which are horrifying. Um hmm Knight of Swords and the Ego. And we've got Taurus, and it looks like two Roman numeral twos. So 4 or 2 2. This could be you getting fed up with this situation. Because this knight is very action oriented. The reckless hero, rushing in. So, hmm, is there something in this little hinterland between the 9 and the 10 that might make you want to act in a hasty way? Of just going like head first, and like the horse, the head is down, like they're not looking at the path. The knight is like looking out, but the horse is not, and they're the vehicle. They're It's kind of important that the horse sees what's going on. That might just be a testament to the reckless abandon. Hmm. I don't feel like I have quite enough on that. I'll get a clarifier. Maybe on what this event might be. Is it going to be, because we had talked a little bit about like this wound that's in the shadow could be something you thought was healed. So maybe when salt's poured into it, you turn into the reckless hero of like in a vacuum, we can believe that our wounds are healed. Ooh, okay. But yeah, in a vacuum, we can believe that our wounds are healed, but then in practice, you know, things go the way they go. So the Ace of Pentacles in reverse, Lord of the root of the powers of earth. So the immediate sense that I got was, if handled in a hasty, unthinking way, reckless way, could block opportunity, like a new opportunity. So it seems like it might be prudent to take a step back, maybe read the book of Job, regardless if that's your pantheon, your paradigm, or not. And I mean, if you get the Audible version, listening to James Earl Jones, like, why not? And there's all sorts of like little summaries out there on YouTube of, you can get just the overview. Because I mean, if you're going to dig into the primary material like that, honestly, a study Bible is going to be the way to go. If you really want to learn that material really, really well, there's a lot of context, a lot of stuff that you are not going to be able to glean from simply the Bible on its own. Uh, it's a really important part of the equation. Nothing wrong though with, you know, I like the poetic, like flowery language. So we've got air, paradigm shift. And that seems fitting for like moving from the 9 of Wands into the 10. And if you're anything like me and you've lost your temper before, you know that that can interfere with opportunities and whatnot. And this is giving me, like, back to the Book of Job reference, like all these eyes here all around the card. Uh, the sense of being observed, of, in the context of the Book of Job, it'd be being observed by God's court, of the true actions and the true faith and the true resilience of Job being viewed by the divine, by the people who set up this test, which feels unfair, like feels like cheating, that they set up the test unbeknownst to him. And but I digress. Let's see what the book says about this. And I love the art in this deck. It's so pretty. I'm sure this author has another deck and I will likely buy it. Air, paradigm shift. An innovative way of existing, new earth energies, inspiring others, fresh air, flying higher than you have before, more expansive perspectives, consciousness shift. We are in a time of great change, and the speed of our evolution is increasing exponentially. With our advancing technology and the ability to communicate, more knowledge and more power are available to us as individuals than, that phrasing was weird. More knowledge and power are available to us as individuals than we have had for centuries. There are also more platforms where we can share this information. We have the ability to connect with the tribes who are making a difference, to connect with a web of change where our lights unite and increase. Information that was inaccessible, taboo, or shrouded in mystery or initiation, especially in the healing arts, is now available. We can engage many tools as we build energetic sovereignty and create pockets where we can choose to make big changes in our communities. We can inspire others, connect the dots, and receive and share the knowledge and the tools needed for transformation. As we wake up, we can't help but awaken those around us. It may start with an inquiry on what this fresh, new, and long awaited breath is all about. An expansive being holds a tiny heart shaped seedling. When the foundations we build on come from a place of love over fear, we will see huge positive changes in the world. We can start with ourselves. Themes: communication, sharing wisdom, the breath of life, movement, faith, winged helpers, intention, inspiration, and change. So maybe birds might be a synchronicity for you. Uh, we've got the knight here that's got the wings, and the Merkaba that has those wings as well. Hmm. So if you are going through something difficult, maybe on the scale of Job, finding solace in the stories of others, if not Job, there's many. There's lots of stories to pick from. Doesn't have to necessarily be biblical. It can be poetry, it can be songs, it can be a painting, whatever, is your preference. Ooh, and Scarlet Cross by Black Veil Brides. And that is very, like, shared difficult experience. I of course think of the Scarlet Letter when I think of or hear that song, but it's got the my mind remains my pain, and I just blanked on the rest of the lyrics. But it's about like mental health. Like there's some lyrics that lean into that theme quite a bit of the difficulty of living with that and those experiences and the shame of that and living with those mistakes and moving on and whatnot. And they are also uh at least from what I can tell from their lyrics and whatnot, a Christian band. um I don't know what specific, sect, but there's a lot of that represented in their lyrics. The other song, it's right there. There's a quote from, I think it's from Luke, right at the beginning of the music video. We are the vengeance. I think that's right. So some Black Veil Brides, Book of Job, a few recommendations, lots of esoteric stuff to dig in as well with all these themes and Lemuria, whatnot. But overall, I hope this helps. I hope this resonates. And if it doesn't, I hope the next one does. Thank you so much.